Good to see you that are here in the room, and I know folks are watching at home or the mountains or the beach or wherever you are this Labor Day weekend. Thank you for tuning in as well. Today we're going to begin a series that's going to take us through September entitled Go Fish, and it's the story of Jonah, a chapter every week in September until we're finished. Now everybody knows this story, or most folks do anyway, but what they know is that a man named Jonah was swallowed by a whale or by a big fish. And that's pretty much the extent of the general knowledge. But there's a lot in this book, small book, and we're going to deal with it. There are only 48 verses in the entire book, so you can easily read it. I would encourage you to go ahead and read the whole story in preparation for next Sunday. It's called a minor prophet. There are 12 of them in your Bible. Not minor in importance, but minor in size. So we will be looking at it and giving it attention. It's located in your Bible between Obadiah and Micah. So go ahead and find it now. The words will be on the screen, but I'd love for you to have it in your hand because I'm going to refer back and I want you to be able to glance down and see. Jonah chapter 1, we'll look at the whole chapter. The word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah ran away from the Lord and headed for Tarshish. He went down to Joppa, where he found a ship bound for that port. After paying the fare, he went aboard and sailed for Tarshish to flee from the Lord. Then the Lord sent a great wind on the sea, and such a violent storm arose that the ship threatened to break up. All the sailors were afraid, and each cried out to his own god, and they threw the cargo into the sea to lighten the ship. But Jonah had gone down below, where he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. The captain went to him and said, "How can you sleep? Get up and call on your God. Maybe he will take notice of us, so that we will not perish." Then the sailors said to each other, "Come, let us cast lots to find out who is responsible for this calamity." They cast lots, or threw dice, and the lot fell on Jonah. So they asked him, "Tell us, who is responsible for making all this trouble for us? What kind of work do you do? Where do you come from? What is your country? From what people are you?" Rapid fire questions. How do you begin to answer? He answered, "I am a Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land." This terrified them, and they asked, "Well, what have you done?" They knew he was running away from the Lord because he'd already told them that. The sea was getting rougher and rougher, so they asked him, "What should we do to you to make the sea calm down for us?" "Pick me up and throw me into the sea," he replied, "and it will become calm. I know that it is my fault that this great storm has come upon you." Instead, the men did their best to row back to land, but they could not because the sea grew even wilder than before. Then they cried out to the Lord, "Please, Lord, do not cast us, let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing an innocent man, for you, Lord, have done as you pleased." Then they took Jonah, and they threw him overboard, and the raging sea grew calm. At this, the men greatly feared the Lord, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows to him. People have trouble with this story, as you know, because it is so fantastic. The idea of a big fish swallowing somebody and that person staying alive for 3 days and then the person being vomited out safely onto dry land. They say, no, it couldn't have really happened. It's a parable. It's an allegory. But I want you to know, I believe it's a true story. Jesus believed it was. He cited it in the New Testament. And the only reason not to believe it's true is that it's a miracle. Things like this don't happen. Well, I crossed that bridge a long time ago. I believe the most incredible story, the most incredible miracle of all, that God became a man